item of business is to go back to the strategic plan. We had significant discussion yesterday. John is, of course, ready.
No, and Renee's presentation is wrapping up the rest of the kind of here's where we've been, here's where we are, and here's where we're going kind of discussion. So yeah, so I know that we wrapped up yesterday with the discussion, but any additional comments? Okay.
Yeah. We're open for that discussion now, but after that, then we would like to have a vote to approve the strategic plan, subject to any thing that comes up in this discussion. Do you want to present anything, or should we just go into?
I feel like I'm talked out, but but I'm happy to review anything at all. I mean, I know there've been a few questions and comments yesterday. But essentially, we're not making any significant changes unless there's a resounding cry to do so. But I did, paid attention to Rhonda, your comment on participations. I think that's a more tactical approach that maybe we talked about in the first 90 days or part of our approach on lending. We discussed a little bit about this regional discount on like an ED rate. We're not sure that lack of activity in the regions is due to a 1% decrease, whether that's really going to incentivize, but open to some sort of idea. But ED rate is something that we could change internally.
Yeah, so you got 2 of the 3. We also had that we would add municipalities.
Yes, we definitely want to add municipalities, right?
So again, not
We have that on the record.
material, but three tweaks to the strategic.
And are we going to include a conversation at some point about increasing or getting rid of the cap in ag?
Getting rid of the what?
The cap in ag. That's.
Oh, yeah, that's in there.
Okay.
It's not specifically
It's not
drawn out, but it is one of the ideas behind getting rid of all loan terms and limits in the statute, so.
Not sure.
Any other comments or questions about the strategic plan? We ready to vote on approving it? If so, may I have a motion to approve the strategic plan?
Approving it or adopting it? What's the?
Well.
I'll make a motion to adopt it.
Yeah.
I'll second. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Kirsten doesn't matter.
Thank you.
Whoever has the easier name to spell.
That's actually, that's a real toss up.
Let's change it.
Renee's like that hits.
Is there more discussion? Bob, any other comments before we vote? Hearing none, may all those in favor of adopting the strategic plan as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Plan is adopted.
Done.
Until the next one.
Until the next time.
All right. Next is budget discussion. And ready to.
Our ALCO chair is going to recommend. I
Yeah,
believe,
just
and then
before we start, Pat's going to jump into and go over a review of the proposed budget for this next coming year. The ALCO committee has met twice in the past 2 weeks with the main purpose of our past 2 meetings to review the budget in detail with Pat. Again, I'll let him go through the details, but we felt that the budget is well thought out. None of us have crystal balls to know exactly what rates are going to do in the future, but it's, as we've seen with that and the VEDA team in the past, it's a well put together budget. There are some stretch goals in there for loan growth and such, but we felt it was a comprehensive, well thought out budget. And at the end of our meeting today, there was a consensus from the committee to recommend to the full board the support and again, hopefully your potential approval of the budget. So that's your ALCO committee's endorsement about what you're going to hear. So you can run through it.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so this is shaping up to be a good year. by 2026. We've got another month before we're totally done, but good year this year, and we're projecting that we can do a little better next year. So the major goals we have on page 1, if you're following along, but so boil it down to new volume. We want to do 150 new loans for $55 million across all aspects of what we do. So that's estimated at 8% increase over where we think we're going to land this year. So a solid increase. And we also want to maintain the size of the portfolio, knowing that we're going to have a $12 million payoff in the first quarter of the coming year. So that's going to be a big hit, but we know about it ahead of time, and we're making preparations to refill that hole as best as we can. So if we can do those two things, that drives really the rest of the metrics that we track. But the third one is improve our core operating income. We had a good increase this year from the prior year, and we want to do that again by almost 5% from the prior year, and then continue to increase our return on asset number from 0.54 this year to 0.57 next year, on the road to 0.75 within the next 3 years is the ultimate goal. And doing that by improving net interest margin, combination of continuing to really tightly manage our funding and changing our discount structure, as we talked about yesterday, to make sure we have enough margin to cover any unexpected losses that we encounter. Our non-interest expenses, keeping that number at below 2.45% of assets. This year was a abnormally low year in that regard, just due to timing of staff retirements and changes, but we're going to see an uptick next year, but still barely to the level of where we were 2 years ago in overall expenses. So it just goes to show how much we've managed with efficiency gains to this point. And the fourth is maintaining delinquencies. We've set that 4% level as a target. We tend to have a lot of things in that bucket, but they stay there a long time because we're a patient lender, and we let things resolve as best they can before going to the end with writing off and having foreclosures and all of that. So 4% is kind of the level we've set as the goal, and losses, trying to keep those. I put in under 0.5% per year, which exceeded that this year and the year before, but hopefully we can settle in next year. So those are the major assumptions going into this. A lot of that can change. We don't have any major interest rate changes expected. We'll see what happens, but we're in a pretty good position to weather whatever happens. We have plenty of liquidity available to support. If growth is much higher than expected, we can get the funding we need. No worries there. And we are, as we've said, expecting some significant activity in the housing space once it's up and running, which may not be until the second half of the year, but given the projects we know that are out there, it's a pretty good chance we're going to get a shot at participating in that. That's the high level. I mean, I think we'll keep doing what we're doing, and trying to keep our expenses in check, make these investments in staff and in technology over the next few years to make us more efficient and have much data and information in front of us as we can make decisions. I think we're happy with where we are this year and excited about next year. Much as we can. Any detailed questions, certainly feel free, but I think that covers the high level.
So we can take questions and suggestions for any changes now or after we have a motion to accept and approve. Doesn't matter to me how we
Do motion first.
well. See, anybody have anything they want to raise before I ask for a motion? Or may I have a motion to accept and adopt the
I'll make a
and
motion.
approve the budget? Danny?
Yep.
Thank you. And a second?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Are there any questions?
Yes, yeah, I do have, it seems like I always have a question, but anyway.
That's good.
So how does the stretch budget affect the incentive plan for employees?
Yeah, so the incentive is based on the budget metrics in a few areas. There's dollar amount of loans, number of loans, delinquency, the ROA, and a mission-based piece that's decided by the board as to whether we've met the high end or not. So they're all objective except that mission base. We do a good job of explaining everything we've done. You'll see that shortly here of this past year, what we've done to support what we think is a high mark there. But so all of those, the budget drives all of those things. I think if we don't hit the budget target, there is a graduated level down, so it's not zero if you don't hit it. It starts at a budget is a pool of 8% is what the number is based off of, and it goes up to 10 or down to 0 for every category. So wherever we land within, you have to be miss it by a whole lot, not have anything. But I think it does kind of push the high end of the plan into the budget number a bit more this year. If that makes sense.
The stretch is about 10% over budget. Is that, do I
Yes.
have that right?
Yes, so yeah, to hit the high end, it's a 10% over budget. When if you're looking at $55 million in loans, that's another 5.5 million. So it's not an easy
Right.
target. So
I just hope it doesn't become a disincentive for employees to say we're never gonna make it.
That would be defeatist. I mean, I don't know.
No.
Yeah, I think people, well, I don't know, maybe we talk about that. We've had a significant amount of meetings, I think, about where we think demand is going to come from. We didn't even consider much of the housing that would come our way. So it's pretty conservative, even though it's a stretch. That makes sense. Yeah, we talked about this quite a lot. We didn't want to decline. You know, we get payoffs all the time, sometimes unexpectedly, and we want to keep growing. So that was the impetus behind a little bit of a push.
Other questions?
But maybe the lending teams could talk about how are people feeling about that number? Defeatist doesn't cross my mind, but I mean, maybe inform me otherwise.
It is aggressive, yes. Aggressive, but given that there are some new programs like housing, CHIP, those kind of factor into it. It's aggressive, but yes, we'll work hard. I don't think it is, but yeah, it is aggressive. So. And then also depending on how the whole macro market's gonna do. If something really happened to everybody, then it's not just us that's impacted by what's happening.
On the incentive comp and incentive goals, my theory has always been, if you can hit all of your stretch goals every year, they're not stretch goals. I think that you shouldn't be able to every year, if you have 10 goals, hit every single one of them because you're not stretching them. So I always like there to be some, it needs to be meaningful to get a full, top of the line payout. I think that's what it looks like the authority's trying to do. So.
Next. Other questions or comments? All right, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of accepting and approving the budget, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Glad your budget is approved and we're on to your next point of discussion.
we have May's numbers in here. I won't spend a ton of time on them, but just reiterate that 11 months through the year, we're in good shape. We did have the key items this month we'll talk about also in the CRCR report were a few loans that we did have to take a full reserve on, and that hurts. So our provision for the month was $718,000. So feeds into this whole aim of the portfolio management to get ahead of these best possible. We can't prevent them, but I think we just, the much more we can have an idea of where things might be heading ahead of time, the better, but I'm glad this hit now and not July. Rough start too. But overall, yeah, we're ahead of budget on our core operating income targets, and we're happy about that. May was a good month. We got a recovery of a year's worth of interest on a non-accrual account, which always is nice to juice the interest income a bit. Yeah, beyond that, we're talking about the closing volume. We're just a bit below budget through May, and I think we'll probably end the year a little bit below overall in dollars, still above, well above in number of loans. So we're definitely meeting the need on a transaction basis, which is great. Otherwise, yeah, I think everything is going mostly as planned here. We're in really good shape. We're watching rates closely to see how that's going to move and make any moves accordingly that we need to, but we're in pretty good shape there. Credit quality, we'll talk about it in a moment, but we're still tracking well historically where we've been. So no major concerns on the horizon.
Questions or comments? Plowed quite a bit of this ground already, but thank you. All right, well, let's move right on to credit quality then. And then we'll go into executive session to talk about the CRC.
We can, or we can talk about it overview.
Okay.
If there are specific questions, we'll
Okay.
need to.
Credit quality open session.
So the credit quality just looks at the overall composition of the portfolio. There's a page that shows the historical level of where we've been in the delinquencies across the portfolios. You can see the large improvement has been in ag. That was 15% back in 2020, now it's 6%. So done a great job of bringing on strong new loans while managing out portions of the portfolio from either land sales or farm sales. We didn't take much in losses as we saw yesterday, but the overall improvement's largely driven by the ag side of things. And we've had some blips in commercial and small business, but overall we're under that 4%, which has historically been very good for us. So we're happy to be there. And there's no indication that things are going to go south anytime soon. This report's usually, it's been given as an informational. There's charts detailing our portfolios where everything is concentrated. No major changes there. We know our exposure is in travel and tourism, and we're watching that. We're supposed to see a couple borrowers in that space have not quite met expectations, so we're keeping an eye on that and the overall industry, but no widespread issues. Dairy's holding its own. Manufacturing has been declining as an overall portion of our portfolio, which is why we're keying in on that, hoping to pick up some growth there with the keeping the incentive in place on rates. And energy, still our strongest performing with no delinquencies there, although we're going to lose a good portion of the portfolio shortly. We hope to replace it with similar strong loans. So if there's questions about this, happy to answer. The last pages are the largest customers, and we're working on refining this list to make sure we're including everybody, building in that plan for annual reviews and other tracking, just so we have a really strong idea of how these large relationships are. That's pretty much all I have.
Thanks. Questions? Well, the reporting is very thorough, and I also say I appreciate the pre-meeting materials too, so I think we'll be able to do those. Hearing no questions or comments, we'll move on to the credit risk classification. And then if we get into a situation where we're discussing something that may be privately,
Great,
Just let me know.
will do.
Thank you.
So the credit risk classification or CRCR, if we take a look at page 3 for the numbering, it's actually page 4 if you're looking at the file number. We can see in the red boxes what our reserves are for the various different loan programs. And I will draw your attention to the jobs fund, which is increasing by just under 590, and the VSVDC fund, which is increasing by just under 160. The rest are smaller adjustments. The other programs are smaller adjustments related to unallocated reserves. These two specifically are related to single loans that in the case of the jobs fund was a single loan that went up. The reserve went up to fully reserve for that loan by about 590, and it was partially offset by another single loan that we had a recovery on. Whereas in VSBDC, that is up for a loan that we took a full reserve. We were partially reserved last quarter, and now we're fully reserved on that.
Randy, just a quick question. How often do we review if we need to increase the reserve? Is it monthly, quarterly?
Quarterly.
Quarterly.
Anybody have any other questions? I'm happy to answer whatever we can. If it gets specific into a customer, we'll go into executive.
Any questions?
Thank you.
I know, Rhonda, you want to
No.
talk about it?
Well, no, I'm
No,
good.
you're good, okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Sandy. Joan, you're up with the next several items.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I want to bring everyone's attention to the calendar, which I think is in the handout as well. There are some changes, which we will be communicating with you very shortly, like maybe after this meeting, because it changes loan committee meetings for July and August, I believe. Are there any others? I think most of them remain the same, but I think there was a bit of a hiccup on the July meeting, so we had to change it so that generally we have 2 loan committee meetings a month, except in the months where there's a full board meeting. So we'll be canceling out the old ones and sending out new ones, but if there's a few in there that are TBD. We don't have exact dates, but just wanted to bring your attention to it so that, yeah. In September, we're meeting in Brattleboro. Do we have the venue? Yeah. Okay, and that's not on the calendar, but it's somewhere else, but Fire Arts Gallery, which is a borrower. So nice road trip there, and we'll start a little later that time. We normally start at 9:30, but that'll be 10 o'clock.
I would highlight it's the same distance for us to go there as it is for Peter to come to us.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, I think that's all I had on calendars. I don't know if anyone has any comments, questions on that.
I would just say it's nice to have it so far in advance.
Yeah, this way it used to be done like calendar year, but this is fiscal year, so this should cover all fiscal year 27. My CEO report, I pretty much, I think we've covered everything. I just reviewed the legislative outcomes, which we're very happy about, and create additional opportunities. Yeah, Thad reviewed the results. There's really nothing new. We have we have 2 retirements. Sarah has given her notice, as we mentioned yesterday, and Kelly Leonard is retiring after 23 years. We've done a bit of a realignment. Jonathan Harris will be our lead underwriter, reporting to Sandy, so that Sandy doesn't have 15 people reporting to her directly, to help streamline that operation. And Pete Fitzgerald will be reporting now to Thad to help us establish a more portfolio management methodology. So that was just I just reiterated that kind of in the announcement to staff. Facilities was covered. We're getting an EV charging station, thanks to Connie, did a lot of work on getting that done and in a, advantageous way to VEDA. It's a lot less expensive than originally thought. I don't really have much else. I mean, unless you have questions or comments from yesterday, but I work very happy. It's been a year and I have a great team and a great board. So I want to thank everybody. I think this has been a great experience so far.
Are there questions?
I
Michelle?
just have just curiosity, on the charging station, were you able to access any grants? Or-
No grants, but I don't know, what is it, the GMP?
Mountain Power.
Green Mountain Power has a great
Some
rebate.
incentive. Oh, okay,
So-
yeah.
What is it costing? Total?
I'm not cheap.
Just shy of $8,000. Because it's really a residential, it's like a residential one,
Okay.
but yeah, we'll have two.
Level 3.
Sorry?
What level?
No, it's not a level 3. It's a level 2.
Level 2.
Yeah.
Still great.
So what's that do for parking access?
Well, I mean, on any given day, the parking lot is really not full. I don't know, maybe on a day. Sorry.
Only the days of the week.
Right, which is basically like once a year now, because we want to try to, circulate around the state. There would be 2 spots over by the Cross House, so it's further back. So far, we think, okay, there are a few people who use EVs, so they would park there. Of course, everything begets another issue, like what if somebody parks there all day and they're finished charging, We welcome and embrace all these challenges. We'll figure that out. I know that BHCB was very interested in this, so they're a great tenant. And we'll have to establish some ways of making sure people are not hogging that space, but it's generally pretty empty, the parking lot.
So is the rate that the person charging pays a Green Mountain Power rate? Is that the provider for Montpelier?
That's the provider from Montpelier. I don't know what the rates are going to be, but it's only going to be open to tenants and VEDA staff. And then they'll pay as they go. Like it's not going to just be VEDA's bill. I think that's how we worked it out. And it's not all finalized yet, but we're excited about it, which is why we're talking about it.
I think you could explore putting signs up that when their car is, then charged, that they're encouraged.
Yeah, there'll be a sign, but people don't always pay attention. There'll be a sign.
So then you need an enforcer.
We need an enforcer, yeah, exactly. We'll see how it goes. I don't think it's.
Self-driving. Back out.
That's
Yeah.
right, that's right.
I've never
Yeah.
used one, but is there a way to notify a person if the car is charged?
Well, we have an app that tells, like, you just look, you need to be sitting on your bum and look. You can even set it up so it tells you when it's done, like, hey.
Or it should be like, some chargers I've gone to is like at 80%, it shuts off. Like when you're 80% charged, you're done. So
I mean,
we'll see.
our cars today tell me that I left my child in the back seat and I haven't had a child. I like literally yell at my husband when he's at work. I'm like, lock the car. I'm sick of getting notifications.
You have someone in the back seat.
Pilot motion in the backseat. it tells me
Speak
that
about
kid-
AI, it's not that smart.
All right.
It's going off like.
It's all the charger. Are there any other questions for John?
That's good.
All right, thank you, John. And we have an approval item. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the March 27th meeting, please? So
That was Allison and Tom.
thanks. Let's see who did what. Are there any additions or corrections, comments? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I'll say I was present.
Thanks. All right. You got that? Yep. Our minutes are approved. And there are a number of informational items that are listed on the agenda. I think what these are here for is to see if there are any questions or comments about these. Otherwise, we'll I guess we approve these, is that right, as one sort of slate,
As the consent agenda.
kind of like a consent agenda? Any questions or comments about these? I have a motion to approve the informational items, please.
I don't think we need a vote on information.
Hold and read, I have to do that. I guess I don't have to. All right. Then they stand as
Yeah.
is.
I don't-
What is this next one then?
that was for the minutes.
I'm at 10:30.
Okay. Okay, I think that is for our loan. But is Eric know that we're way above ahead of schedule?
So I.
Yes, okay.
So we're going to go into executive session to discuss a loan.
And then it's this.
And yeah,
It
And-
is,
we're doing that because premature disclosure of some of this information could put VEDA or other entities or any individuals in a position where they're disadvantaged. May I have a motion to go into executive session, please? So Brittany and then Ken. I don't think we need to discuss that. All in favor of going into executive session, please say aye. Any opposed? We are in executive session and the recording can stop. Thank you for being here early and preparing.